All right, everybody, welcome to the Entrepreneurial Hairstylist Summit. I'm so excited for our guest expert today. You guys, we have Hunter Donia with us. Hunter is a salon suite owner, hairstylist, and business educator for hairstylists. He's also the host of the Modern Hairstylist podcast. He is passionately teaching hairstylists how to bring boundaries to their business to elevate the client experience while building their business and, most importantly, creating a well-balanced life. Hunter, welcome to the show.
Hi, I am so freaking excited to be here, dude. This is going to be so great. And you watching this, listening to this, I hope that you're having such an excellent time. I'm sure that what Kristen has put together for you has been amazing. So I'm glad that you're here, friends. Let's go. I'm into it.
Yes, let's go. Okay, so first I just want to start off with I came across your Instagram. I'm like, I love this kid. Oh my God, I love him. And I love what you're about. I was just so smart and so savvy. Not only are you an amazing hairstylist, but very business savvy, which is so cool. And I love what you're sharing about automating the business. Oh my goodness. It's so needed in this industry. But what's so funny about it is, as I was reaching out to you, I'm like, hey, Hunter, do you want to be a part of this? You responded, but the second email was from your assistant, Josephine. I was like, what? I was like, he has an assistant. So cool. So cool. But again, so smart. And it just speaks to the automation that you have in your business and how you have yourself set up to win and how you have yourself set up to have balance in your life. Yes. And so I loved it. I was just like, oh, this is perfect that his assistant responded. I love it. I love it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
So this is my first time meeting you. And for those of you that might not know you or follow you on Instagram yet, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in the industry?
Absolutely. So I started at a pretty young age. So I joined my local vocational high school cosmetology program. So that's how I got my my cosmetology license. So I was 15 years old. You had to be a sophomore to join it. And I somehow begged my parents and got them to let me go, right? Because they were like, oh, vocational schools for the unmotivated kids or whatever. And once they took a tour and they saw that I could really make a career out of this and start early, they finally let me go. So I started in vocational school when I was a sophomore in high school. And I got a job at my very first salon as just a general assistant. My first day was my 16th birthday, actually. Wow. So I've been doing it since I was very young. And I say that I literally grew up in the industry, and I grew up in that very first salon that I started in. And it was just because I got into it because when I was younger, before that, I had came out in middle school, and I was kind of coming into my own, discovering who I was. And I was finding that I really loved expressing myself through makeup and hair. It would be a joke, at the school, I would come in with a new hair color every week, and everybody was excited to see what I came in with a new color. And I was box dyeing it and just putting splat on it. It was really bad. But I found the empowerment and how I felt so just empowered. Empowered is the word. Mm-hmm. And self-confident by using those skills on myself, right? And expressing myself through those channels, right? I just thought that was such a beautiful thing. And to be able to carry that out on others, I really discovered such a passion for it, just because I experienced that transformation myself as well too. And it was really my vocational class, my cosmetology vocational class, that was the first place where I really felt I was I belonged and I was accepted, and we were all on the same page with all the same mission. And I just found such an intense love for this industry. And so it's been about 7 to 8 years now that I've been doing this, and I have no plans on leaving this industry anytime soon. It is a beautiful, beautiful space for sure.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. So after you graduated high school, right, did you then graduate and have your cosmetology license?
Yeah, so I actually was able to get my cosmetology license prior to graduating high school. So I got it the April of my senior year. whenever there was an opportunity to like come in like on like off time, like outside of school hours, like to get some extra hours, like I was there and I would do it willingly. Like I freaking loved it. Like I said like my first day at the salon was like my 16th birthday. I was so freaking excited about getting into this salon, and they were like, you know, you don't have to come in and work on your birthday. I was like, no, like this is the best birthday gift ever. Like, please let me come in. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, so I was able to get my cosmetology license in my senior year, and then I was able to actually do like a half day. And so I would do like my general ed, and then I would actually just go straight to work. And then I started taking clients when I was 18. So it was good stuff.
Amazing. So then did you start in a commission-based salon, or did you immediately go into doing a suite space? Can you talk to us just a little bit about what that looked like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Pennsylvania, so I'm in Pennsylvania, I'm in central Pennsylvania.
That's where I'm from
Like,
too.
oh no, are you
Well,
serious?
I live in Charlotte now, but I just moved here in 2020. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh.
No, oh, that's so cool. So
Yeah,
I'm in so I'm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And
okay.
so in Pennsylvania, booth rental is illegal, right? So booth rental is illegal, and it's one of the, I think like the 5 states in the United States that where it's illegal. So I mean, especially when I first started, like the only path was a commission salon. Like there were no suites, like it just didn't exist back then. And so that was the only way. So I did start in a commission salon, and it was actually the salon that my mom had gotten her hair done at, and like I eventually started to get my hair done there. And my stylist, who I love her, shout out to Shannon if you're by chance listening to this. Shannon, she was like, she knew that I was like starting vocational school, and she was like, why don't you just like try to apply here? And so I did. So yeah, it was a commission salon. It was pretty large. There was about like probably like 40 employees, so it was a pretty big, intense operation.
Okay, amazing. So this is going to lead into my question for you is, at some point you obviously switched over into a suite. And so going from a commission-based salon where pretty much everything is done for you, and you know, you have people answering the phone, and you have people booking the appointments, and you have people sweeping the hair, and you have people doing all those things, you took the leap of faith and opened your suite.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about that transition, like what that was like for you. You know, was it easy? Was it scary? All of that.
100%. So my story was, so I was working at my commission salon for about 4 years, I think. And I had been dating this dude that I kind of met like online, and we've been doing like long distance. So he lived about an hour and a half away. And I decided like, you know, I had never moved in my life because I grew up where I worked, and all my friends like went off to college. I never made any changes in my life. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to waste any more time with this man, not knowing if like this is going to work in the long term or not. Right. Because like when you live with somebody, that's when you really get to know somebody.
Yes. So true. Yeah.
Right. And he's a Baltimore City firefighter. So it was way easier for me to relocate than him. And so I moved out here to where I live now. And so I had to build my clientele from scratch. And so I did start in another commission salon, and it was like a painful, slow process of growing my clientele again. Pandemic hit, quarantine hit, and I was able to just like take a step back and just like I got really obsessed with business. Like for whatever reason, like I just thought it was so fascinating, so interesting. I got a lot of great education and just dove really deep into it. And by the end of quarantine in Pennsylvania, I was like, I feel like if I had my own space and I created the entire like marketing funnel, if I created the entire vibe, if I was in control of the guest experience from beginning to end, I could create a vision that will truly bring me a lot of success and joy. And literally, like I had like barely 1 week of clientele booked out at a time. And it was like 3 weeks before quarantine, and something was just like, but like telling me to do this. Like I had to do this in my gut. And I texted like the landlord of my sola, because we had kind of talked before. I was like, listen, can we get this together in 3 weeks before quarantine lifts? Because I wanted to have it ready for like when everybody came back. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, okay, let's go. And it was like the biggest, deepest pit in my stomach, like for 3 weeks. not knowing if anything was going to work out, not knowing if I was going to be able to make this a sustainable thing for me. My poor boyfriend and my family, like they were just listening to me, like crying and being so nervous and like being crazy. And it was hands down the absolute most important decision, one of them that I've made in my life. It was just so beautiful. I like just like the success came like pouring in. It was really great. So that was my story.
I love it. I love hearing like the quarantine COVID stories, because everyone has one. I feel like it's like when people made that really, they made like a testament for like, okay, this is what I want to do with my life. Like, this is like, they drew that line in the sand. And so what I heard you say in that is that you really utilized your time to learn a lot about business. Do you have a specific book that you read or a specific class that you took that was really impactful for you?
Yeah, so I always will give 100%. I'll give a lot of credit to my mentor Britt Siva, like Britt Siva and Thriver Society. Like I joined them like right when quarantine hit, like a month after. And Britt is just like an amazing business leader in our industry. She's fantastic. That's where it started, and she really opened my eyes to. She was the first one to really open my eyes to like, we need to take note from like just business in general, instead of thinking that we as an industry are this special snowflake and just focusing so much on like what has worked in our industry thus far and just like what other people in the industry are doing. It's like, look at what real ass companies are doing. Like, look at like what Fortune 500 companies are doing, and then take notes from that and then apply it to what we're doing here. Right. And business is business is business. The same concepts all apply in the world that we live in. And so that she really opened my eyes to that. And then I got into like Donald Miller, like building a story brand. So like I learned like a lot about marketing from like all different types of perspectives. I started listening to all these freaking podcasts. There's like a bunch of other books that I could like go off on, but I just thought it was just like so fascinating and interesting. And I think that also just because like my whole entire life I've just like been, me being gay and like having my own identity, and sometimes like not feeling like I really belong in spaces. I've had a lot of time to like be an outsider and like look at like how people move and how people react and how people behave, like, and I think it just has given me like a great perspective as to like how like consumers move and how human beings react to certain things, and I don't know, I think it's given me a little bit of a leg up. So that was my tea.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. That's awesome. So let's fast forward, because this whole thing has obviously worked out for you. You made the move to be with your boyfriend. Things are working out with you guys, right?
Yes.
Yes,
We've been together for 5 years now.
Oh, so. Amazing. Okay, good. So that all worked out, right? You opened this sweet space and you did all the right things, and you got very, very busy. So talk to me about, because now you're teaching all these things about automating your business and how you can like plan out the pre-visit or things like that. So talk to me about the pain points that you experienced that made you want to create the structure and automation in your business.
100. So I opened up my salon suite and I went hard into my marketing. I like went crazy nuts, and all the freaking sudden, like I was 3.5 months booked out with like 5 new guest requests a week. Like no joke. That's what was happening. And it was like about maybe like 6 or so months in. And I was like, I don't see how this could be sustainable. I don't see this being a sustainable vision for me for the long term. Like I didn't see how it would happen, because I had all this demand, I had all this responsibility, because being independent is so much responsibility, and to uphold like that much pressure on your books and on your business and with these people, right? It's a lot. And it's of course you're so grateful for that success, right? And like I was so grateful to be in that space, and I worked for that, right? But I was so grateful to be in that space. But it's like more money, more problems. Like it truly is a thing. And once you get to that point, you, especially as an independent stylist or independent business owner, you need to start making shifts or else this won't be sustainable. Like, I was not spending time with my family and my friends nearly as much as I should have. I was going home to my boyfriend and my lovely little orange cat, and I didn't have any time to play with him or spend any time, like, you know, nurturing my relationship with my boyfriend. I was coming in early, staying late on my days off, and I was just burning out so fast. It was awful. It was not good. And most importantly, no, that's not true. Not most importantly, but coincidentally, I was working so hard and I was like thriving in my business. But by that point, I was actually doing my clients a lesser quality service, right? Because I wasn't filling up my own cup and I was coming in exhausted. And when I thought coming in early, staying late on my days off, when I thought that was actually serving my clients, it was actually screwing them over. And it came to a point where, like, I had this one amazing client that I squeezed in to one of my days. It was like a Friday, and I squeezed her in so I would be working a 12-hour shift because I had no other place to put her in, and she really wanted to get in at that time. So she was at the end of my this 12-hour shift that I had, and I freaking love this girl. Okay, I love what we do on her hair. Everything's great. And so I'm like balayaging her, and we wanted to just do some like cute like gold highlights. I wash her highlights out. I like put on her toner, and like a couple minutes go by, not even a couple minutes, like 2 minutes go by, and I look at her hair and it's turning purple. I was toning with an 8 gold and it was turning purple.
No.
So I go back to my like scale and I look at the tube I grabbed, and I grabbed an 8 intense violet instead.
Oh my God. No. No.
And you know what I realized? I'm like, I would not have done this if I wasn't effing exhausted.
Yeah.
This would not have happened if I wasn't working this 12-hour shift, and if I had not squeezed her in. And so by squeezing her in, I potentially could have really messed up her hair and made her go through a traumatic experience, because hair is a really in-depth personal experience for people. And I think that us as hairstylists are like desensitized to that, but like truly, like, this is like people's hair is like means a lot to them.
Absolutely.
And so I was like, I'm doing this, something needs to give. Like, that was like my breaking point, you know? So then I was like, okay, I need to figure out how to streamline as many processes as possible. I need to set really freaking strong boundaries for myself and my business. And I need to figure out how I can still keep success in my business and keep it as a sustainable, growing business, but also sustain myself and reap the benefits of the beautiful business that I've built for myself at the same time. And so I was able to figure all that out through a lot of trial and error. And I have a beautiful streamlined system now that I now teach other hairstylists how to implement in their business, especially independent hairstylists. And so that way they can go create the business of their dreams, but also the life of their dreams as well too.
It's so good. Oh yeah. Hunter, first of all, I just want to commend you for having that aha moment and that like recognizing like this is not sustainable, because here's the truth of the matter. I think is that our industry is so fun. What we get to do is literally like, does it ever even really feel like work? Like,
right.
Like, and that's the problem, is that it's easy to say yes. It's easy to say yes because, and it's easy to get into that pickle or whatever you want to call it, because it's easy to say yes. And once you start saying yes, it's people start, can you squeeze me in? Can you do this? And listen, I totally relate to that story. I tell people this story, I'm going to keep it really short, but very similar situation, just jam-packed 12-hour days. And one morning I go to my salon and I forgot like the money bag at home, like the blue, like bank bag at home. I'm like, crap, like I got to go home. So I had to run home. I jump out of my vehicle. I turn, like I would always go in through my garage door. So I jump out of my vehicle, go upstairs, and I hear a crash. I got out of my vehicle while it was moving, and it ran upstairs and it crashed into my garage. And I was like, oh my God, I have a client at 9 o'clock. Like, I don't have time for this. So I literally pull shit out of like the wheel wells. I back up out of my garage and I get to the salon at night, just in time for my 9 o'clock appointment, and with a smile on my face. Like, that's not normal. That's not how you, okay. So this is not abnormal. Like this happens to hairstylists. Like
Yeah.
if you don't have the boundaries.
Yep.
So I'm just proud of you for recognizing that and taking a stand in your career so that you can have longevity and balance in your life, which is so amazing. And I love that you're teaching it to stylists now. So the next question I have for you is that going from that, saying yes, squeezing people in, and then from all of a sudden, like having boundaries and saying no, I'm sure that probably brought up some stuff for your clients. Like, so how did you deal with getting like kickback from your clients whenever you were like, yes, no, I can't do that, or having those boundaries?
I love this question.
Yeah.
So
Tell me all of it.
So, okay, there's so many places I can go with this, and I have ADHD really bad. And so that's why I'm like, my brain's like rattling. So speaking of ADHD, right? So I have really bad ADHD, like, and it's not like I'm like, oh, like I just get so distracted. I'm so like, no, it's like I really truly have ADHD, and it really impacts my life like hard. And I'm sure that other people with ADHD listening to this can really relate.
Yeah.
And so throughout my life, I've learned that if I want something to happen, if I want to hold myself accountable to something, then I need to create a system for it. Like there needs to be something that will literally force me to either get something done or not do something if I don't want to do it. So a really simple, possibly even corny example is that I like to share because I implement it in my own life. And it actually is a game changer. So if I have my phone when I wake up in the morning next to like on my bedside table, I will open my phone and I will just get stuck in the scroll and I will not get my ass out of bed when I need to get my ass out of bed, right? So my system, right? And this is super simple. My system is I literally like when it's time for bed, I turn my phone off and I put it in a whole other freaking room. So I have to get my ass out of bed and I have to go get my phone if I want to go on my phone, right? So like super simple example, right? So what I created was systems in my business that forced me to say no or took the pressure off of me to say no, right? Where like I was delegating the responsibility of the administrative task that I could have screwed myself over in. I was delegating that to systems. And again, a really simple example could be your online booking, right? So like my business is an online booking only business. So like if you want to book an appointment with me, you're booking it online, period. Because when I'm in control of my own schedule, then I am also in control and have the ability to come in early, stay late on my days off. When my client is booking online, my online schedule is my online schedule, period, right? So like that's a system that holds me accountable. And what mitigates the pushback, what mitigates the clients being upset and a poor customer experience is making sure that those systems, such as your online booking, and I'm not just talking about online booking, there's so many other systems, but just online booking is something that's relatable. If you want to mitigate that pushback, then your online booking or whatever that system is, it needs to be simplified. It needs to make sense. There has to be a good customer experience that comes with it. And that's the beauty in what I created and what I teach. And I'm biased, but this is what I hear from the feedback that I get. And what I really believe in is I love giving an amazing customer experience. Like it's my favorite thing. Like I really love it. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I got into my suite. And so I realized like there were ways that I could make things more convenient for the client, but also serve myself at the same time. And it's so much more convenient for your client to just go on your online schedule and see all of your availability and just be able to book their appointments by themselves. That's the way that consumer behavior is moving by itself today in general, instead of waiting for me to get back to them or book their appointment by themselves. But the problem is I see online booking all the time not being utilized the way that it needs to be, and it being not simple enough for the client, and then it creates a poor user experience. So for something like this, like if you wanted to move to online booking, so that way it takes the pressure off of you to have to say no and coming in early, staying late on your days off, you need to make sure that online booking experience is a pleasant one for your clients, right? Because otherwise, that's when you're going to get the flack. That's when people are going to be pissed off about it. So I hope that answers that question well.
Yes.
Like I
No,
said, I could go so many different directions with that.
there's so many. Yeah, there's so many. But so in that, and you're so right. Like having the structure. Actually, you said something, and like you said that it's like serving the customer, right? And it's part of the experience, but it's also serving you. So then
Yes.
you're not the one having to like go on your phone and like read your messages and look at your book then and book everything. And I love that, the structure. But the other piece of that is that there's probably been times where you still like clients will try and like go around that or whatever. So was there any limiting beliefs that you had to like push through to be able to stand firm in your boundaries?
Absolutely. And so this goes back to my experience with that one client and turning her hair purple, right? So like I realized when somebody would try to move around my system, right? Or like whatever it may be, I felt this pressure to be like, okay, like this is how they want to be served. So in order to make this experience good for them, I have to serve them this way, right? Like this is what they want.
Mhm.
But the problem with that is if I'm not serving myself first, I'm not going to be able to serve that person properly, right? So like we feel this pressure, we feel this obligation, and we feel this need to go out of our way and break our own boundaries to serve the other person. When in reality, when you break your own boundaries, you're doing a disservice to that person. So
Mhm.
I'm a strong believer that if you need to break your own boundaries to serve somebody, then they are no longer the right fit for you. You are no longer the right fit for them, more importantly.
Mhm.
And it's so fascinating because in the past 2-3 years, we've had this like massive awakening with boundaries. I feel like because of the pandemic and like us kind of like reevaluating how we're spending our time, and just us as an industry, I've seen this like revolution of like us being like, we have to say no, we have to raise our, which I'm totally all about. Obviously, I literally teach boundaries, but we can't lose our professionalism because we are also preaching about holding ourselves to a higher standard, and we're so sick of other people not respecting us as business owners and not respecting what we do and taking it seriously and owning our business and what we do with integrity, right? And
Mhm.
so if we want to have a professional business and we want to hold ourselves to a professional standard, we can't just say no, right? We can't just be like, no, sorry, like, bye. No, sorry, I deserve this time with my family. It's like your client doesn't give a shit about that. Your client just wants their hair done. They just want good service.
Mhm.
And in order for you to really take care of somebody, you need to have systems, solutions, processes, or in order to really serve somebody truly, if you can't serve somebody without breaking your own boundaries, then it's time to bless and release, my friends. And then it'll be up to the client to decide whether or not they still want to do business with you. Do you mind
Mhm.
if I keep going? I'm a
No,
long
love
talker.
it. Go,
Okay.
you go.
So like for another system, for example, right? So let's say Karen's trying to get in on your books. You send her to the online booking link. She doesn't see anything that works for you, works for her, right? She goes back and she DMs you on the Instagram and she's like, "Hey Hunter, I went on your online booking like you said, and I didn't find any availability that works for me. I really want to get in on this date. Like, is there any way that you can just squeeze me in? Like, I'll leave with my hair wet, like whatever, right?" And it's like, no, girl, like I'm out with like on vacation with my friends and my family. Like, peace out. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Sorry. Don't say that. Like, you're like, she doesn't care, right? We have to make sure that everything's relevant to the client. Like, can you imagine if you called Amazon and like you were asking Amazon to do something for you, and Amazon like came up with this like whole story about like why they can't do that? It's like, no, like
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. You need systems, processes, and solutions. So instead of standing up for myself, over explaining myself, telling her like why I can't come in on that day, all I'll say is totally understand, Karen. What we can do is we can put you on my wait list, right? And you can go on my wait list. It'll ask you for the times and days that you're available, or even the time and day that you're looking for. And if I have anything open up, I'll make sure to let you know. So then you give her the system takes care of it for you, and then there's an open-ended solution, right? So if you ever experience any really good customer service, even if the company has to say no, there will always be some sort of hope, some sort of open-ended solution. There will always be some sort of something to make the customer feel like at ease and like they had some sort of taken care of. They got taken care of in some sort of way, right?
Mhm.
So that's just another system that helps alleviate the pressure of you having to say no, right?
Yeah.
Because instead of just saying like, sorry, Karen, there's nothing I can do, you have something that you can lean on that will still create a positive experience, right?
Yeah.
So it's about serving yourself and serving other people nonstop all day, every day, in every way that we possibly can. Now, I do want to just share really quick because I don't want anybody to get this twisted. If you have somebody abusive, if you have somebody who's, like the extraordinary case scenario,
Yeah.
that's a different story, right? But when it comes to just like our day-to-day business, right? Like we need to start to stand up for ourselves, but in a professional way that serves the client because it's possible.
Yeah. Well, and I think that happens sometimes, this kickback that stylists are like, no, these are my boundaries. It happens because we've gone so far the other way. We've violated our boundaries so much that we get almost at this like resentful, angry, and like coming from an emotional space. And that's another thing, like systems take the emotion out of it.
Yes. You keep going.
Yes. So like, and I only know because it's happened to me and it's happened to you, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And that's why I created all this stuff, because we got in this industry because we love seeing people feel beautiful about themselves. Mm-hmm. We got into this industry because we love making an impact in other human beings and in our communities, right? Mm-hmm. But like how much of a quality of that feeling and that impact are you actually making if you're not serving yourself first, right? And you make such a great point that because we've gone so far left, right? Because like we are now awakening to like, oh my God, like I need to set boundaries for myself or this isn't going to work out for me. And it's possible, right? Because there's people doing it now. Yeah. We're operating out of a space of fear and desperation and burnout instead, right? That's like the place that people are moving towards, especially independent hairstylists. Now that we've had this big independent boom, right? Mm-hmm. Like we are getting to breaking points now. And it's like people are operating out of fear and just like desperation. And then they make emotional decisions. And you freaking hit the nail on the head that when you have systems that you can lean back on, that support you, that have your back, you're being proactive versus reactive, right? And another thing, sorry, like I said, I could talk about this shit all day.
I love it.
So the other thing is that, oh, I lost it. Never mind. I lost it. ADHD.
It's okay. That happens to me too. Let me rewind this a little bit. We were talking about coming from an emotional space and having that structure.
Yes. Yeah, forget it. It'll come back to me.
If it comes back, you just interrupt me.
Okay, cool.
All right. So yeah, good conversation. We could truly talk about that a lot, especially like you said, there's that boom of salon suites, which is awesome. And it's amazing seeing these people create their businesses, but being a business owner and being a hairstylist, two different things.
Yes.
Two totally different things. Yes. And so a lot of people don't realize that whenever they go into this, it's not a conversation that a lot of people are having when before this whole boom happened. And so I think we're feeling that now. So, which is why what you do is so golden. And I can't wait till like people just see and learn from you and all of that. It's really, truly amazing. But I want to switch gears here just a little bit because we are talking about these pain points. We know how we dig ourselves into these things and we have to back our way out of it, but you've done that. And so how has adding structure and automating your business helped support your growth in your business actually now? And then also just your overall happiness?
Oh my God. Wow. Great question. So, now that I am in an education, I'm much more of my time is now dedicated to education, because I'm loving the impact that I'm making. Like it just lights me the frick up. But because I'm moving into more education, right? Like you said, like I had an assistant who took care of things for me. But that does not mean, right, that I'm not so excited to show up here. That does not mean that I'm not grateful for this experience. It just means that I know that I can show up here and give so much more energy, so much more passion and love if the little things such as just like scheduling and stuff like that
Yeah.
is taken care of for me, right? Like when you move into the mindset of being a business owner, what needs to start happening is, yes, like work your ass off in the beginning, like get scrappy, like build yourself up to that point, right? But as when you're established, when you have that safe like structure, when you have the demand, et cetera, what needs to then start happening is that you need to focus on the little tasks that hold you back from moving forward and to growing even more. Because what'll happen is you're going to bottleneck yourself, right? So like when I was 3 months and a half booked out, when I was getting 5 new guest requests a week, I was like so bottlenecked from growing because I was dealing with such mundane tasks that my online booking could take care of, that my waitlist could take care of, that like my automations and processes could take care of, right? And so now that I have delegated all that stuff, now that I've streamlined it, and by the way, my behind the chair business, I don't have any employees or any assistants helping me. My assistants, like my team, they help me with my online education, like
But in the
solely.
salon, you don't have like
No,
assistants.
I I do not have a team at all. Although I love the idea of a virtual assistant for a behind the chair business, totally.
Yeah.
But I've created a system where I don't need one, but I've delegated as much as I possibly can, right? And like with any successful business, like any business, like literally anything, anybody once they get to a certain point, they realize, oh, I need to hire a receptionist. Oh, I need to hire this person to take care of this, because you need to be operating in your zone of genius. You need to be operating in the most important, biggest money moving spaces, right? Because you are the labor, you're the face, but you're also the brain behind the operation. And at that point, you need to figure out ways to take like the little tasks that hold you back from actually growing and put them onto something else or somebody else to actually keep growing, right? Because we don't have space for showing up in our marketing, filming reels, really taking care of our clients and coming up with cool ideas, right? We don't have the space for that if we're spending it on these like little baby, like $10 tasks versus like the $1,000 tasks, right? So that's why delegation and automation and just like taking those little things away is so important. And that's how it has contributed to continuously growing, because I've made space to do the things that actually move me forward now. And because of that, not only am I able to grow my business even more exponentially, but I'm also now able to spend time doing the things that I love and doing the things that are most important to me and the things that make creating a business actually worth it for you as a human being at the end of the day, because life is too short. Being a hairstylist can reward you with so much success and so much freedom and so much love if you really take it seriously. But are you really reaping the benefits of that if you're working your ass off on a hamster wheel forever to keep up with that, right? And so that's my answer.
I love it. Oh my goodness. It's so good. It's so good. So what do you see right now? Obviously, what I love about you is just you're progressive. You're progressive thinking. And that's, I came across him. I'm like, I love this kid. He's progressive thinking. He's smart. He's savvy.
Thank
So
you.
right now, you're very welcome. What do you see as being the biggest opportunity for hairstylists to be taking advantage of right now?
So, I mean, I'll just go back to, because this is the top of my head, I'll just go back to like consumer behavior and how people are becoming more self-reliant, right? We don't call people to pay our bills anymore. We don't send checks in the mail anymore. We go online and we pay shit ourselves, right? We like to be self-reliant human beings. And this goes across all demographics. Of course, like you have younger demographics who like are moving that way much quicker, but even like older demographics that we might not expect to be on that same page, like even they are moving that direction as well, because we as the business owners, we actually dictate like how consumer behavior works, right? But we have to change our systems first. And so because consumers are enjoying doing things themselves, not waiting on anybody else to do what they want to get done, like this is your opportunity to finally rely on your systems of like online booking or whatever for your clients to do their own work by themselves and have a better experience doing it with you. Like, can I tell you, like I get my hair done And I hate having to call the salon to reschedule or book my appointments. I despise it. I really wish I could, they don't do online booking. So I wish I could just see like a whole schedule of all the things. I wish I could reschedule my own situation when I could. Like, I really wish it would happen. Tattoo artists are such a great example for, I would love to give my program to tattoo artists, because tattoo artists are so booked and busy, like good ones. They're really booked and busy, but their systems and processes are so often really bad.
Mhm.
So I've found with 90% of tattoo artists that I want to get in with, like they'll have this like, okay, you'll email me and you'll answer like these 10 questions in this email. So like make sure that you send me these 10 questions in this email. And then they'll like take forever to get back to you, or they just won't get back to you at all because things get lost in email. When it's like, girl, just set up a digital form where I can just fill it out step by step by step. I won't forget any answers. You can require the questions and like, it'll be good to go. You'll have everything in front of you. You can send back even automated emails that go back and tell them like what to go ahead and book for. Like we need to take advantage of the fact that like, you're now in a space where the responsibilities of being a successful business like are just piling and piling and piling, like especially with social media and like all the shit that we feel like we have to do now. But you're also, with that, you're also in a space where people are ready to be more self-reliant. So take advantage of that. If you're having a hard time keeping up with these responsibilities, then something needs to change to create space for all these responsibilities. And guess what? Things are also changing with our clients as those responsibilities pile up, where your clients can take away some of those responsibilities and have a better experience doing it. So that is, I think, a really big missed opportunity. And we have this misconception that our clients are going to hate it. And yes, they will hate it if you don't set it up in a way where the experience is good for them, right? It's just all about doing it strategically and putting yourself in your client's shoes and rolling things out strategically.
Yeah. And it's sort of like, we focus so much on the experience in the salon and when the client is sitting in the chair, but we forget that the experience actually extends beyond that. Before they come in and after. So It's sort of like what you're saying. So I love it. I'm going to finish off. This is like, you've already shared so much. Like, I don't even know how I can ask you this question because you've already shared so much, but I'm asking a bonus question to each of the experts. And the question is, if you could recommend only one thing, one piece of advice to hairstylists and salon owners building their business right now, what would that be?
You can't pour from an empty cup. Like you will not, and I mean, this goes with the theme of everything we talked about, right? But like genuinely, like you are holding yourself back by doing the things that you think are moving you forward, or the responsibilities that you think you have to be in control of. Like you are holding yourself back from sustainability, longevity, and more growth, because you're not filling yourself up first, because you're not spending the time to take care of yourself first. Like it's hard to believe, but it is so true. Like it is absolutely essential for you to show up as your best self, because otherwise at the end of the day, like nothing else matters, like your health, your wealth of not just money, right? Because money is like whatever, if you don't have the time to and the love and the energy and the health, right? Like nothing else matters unless you have those things. And so what are you truly building your business for? Who are you building your business for? And stop holding yourself back by not taking care of yourself at the end of the day.
That's great advice. Great advice. Well, thank you so much, Hunter. I mean, honestly, you are a firecracker. I love it so much. So I know you have some exciting things going on. Talk to people a little bit, how they can work with you and where they can connect with you.
Yeah, so I think a great place to start out with. So I do have courses. I have my main signature course, which is how people normally start actually doing the work with me, which is called Pre-Visit Pathway. It's where we set up your like completely automated systems for like booking your clients, and when a new client comes on, an automated onboarding system, all of those good things, right? But where you can start with me, if you just really want to get like a taste of automation and like really figuring out like what that delegation actually looks like with systems, and maybe you're not really super like confident with tech or you just really don't know where to start, I recommend that you go to either the link in my bio on my Instagram at hair by Hunty, or you go to hunterdonia.com/automate and you get my 5 free simple ways to automate your beauty business PDF guide. It breaks down like step by step with screenshots, with verbiage examples, like the words that you actually will use to set your boundaries, for you to start to automate a lot of your client communication. And I find that's a really great place for people to start, because that's like where it first needs to happen, is the communication. So yeah, that's where we can start. And connect with me on the Instagram. DM me. I love creating relationships with people within this industry. That's what lights me up. So make sure to DM me. Tell me that you saw me here, and I would be happy to connect with you, friend.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, Hunter. This was a great episode.
Yeah, Kristen, thank you so much for having me. It's really beautiful what you're doing for hairstylists. It's so important for us as industry leaders, right, to come together and collaborate and like share as much as we know, because especially nowadays, like hairstylists like have the opportunity to change their freaking life and change their businesses, and somebody needs to lead the way, right? So I really appreciate you allowing me to be a part of this space and share, be a part of your vision for what you're creating and the impact that you're making. Thank you. This was beautiful. You facilitated this so beautifully, and I appreciate you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.